Welcome back everyone, this is Tacker and today we will be playing the high speed train EMT. So let's get started. Let's have a look around. How does this look? It looks old of course, and it is 2 plus 6, which means 2 locomotives and 6 coaches. So let's unlock the doors, and these are named as East Midlands. So let's unlock the left doors, and they are now unlocked, as you can see. Let's get accustomed to the engine. So let's see that this is a EMT, so a reverser, throttle, AWS, horn, train brake, emergency brake, headlights. Let's put that to day, and then desk lights on. There is just a space for pad, and these are not accessible. This is, that's a brake override, wipers, LED test, train supply off. There are a lot many different controls in most of the trains, but yeah, so I think we'll have to turn this parking brake off. So let's turn off the parking brake, and let's see, this is engine start, engine stop, slow speed, driver's buzzer, gauge dimmer. Let's follow the basic procedure, putting the reverser forward, but before that we'll have to crank the engine up. I just missed one step, which is putting the key. Engine should be started. Now I think we can put the reverser forward and release the brake completely. Wait for the brake pipes bar to come to zero. I mean the brake cylinders, not the pipes. So now we are cleared to leave. Let's put some throttle. Let's honk it as we are leaving, and let's leave this beautiful station. Let's crank a bit more power. Is there no one in the train? There is. Okay, so we're leaving the station. Train looks good. It's more like a steam engine. It's quite designed well. Looks are quite well. Let's push the power a bit more, because this is a long train with 6 coaches and a locomotive at the back. Looks nice. Let's start running, and now it's picking up the pace. And this locomotive has a room or what? I think it's a room for the repairs, something. Let's pull the throttle a tad bit down. Now, the thing is, in these train games, it's just that you learn to enjoy the beauty of the train passing by, and we have new speed limits, so we can crank up the throttle. I just make sure that the bar of the amp, which is the power given to the locomotive, stays in the green most of the times when we try to ramp up the speed, and it's really beautiful. And we can ramp up more, but there is no option to ramp up more, so this is the throttle max. One, two, three, four, five, six, and the locomotive, yes, so it's gone. I like the way it releases the smoke. Station is quite long. 3 or 4 mile stations are good for making the videos, because they get finished in like 15-20 minutes. And she looks beautiful from here. Let's have a picture. Let's see what we have ahead. Nothing special. It's odd that on the right hand side it's all white. I don't think it's the snow, but yeah, the actual texture is white. Let's get into the cabin and enjoy the view for a bit. The windows don't open. Let's turn on the cab light, which is not required as such. And I can't see the light which is visible. I think by the time we reach 105, yeah, because it's not exactly on the mark. And I like the way the banking looks. It's so subtle yet so beautiful. And let's enjoy the coasting. It's a very rare event that we can actually coast a train. I don't know how they do it in the real world, because whenever we are trying to get the speed to reach the maximum speed, it takes a lot of time or anywhere near the maximum. And then by the time you reach that speed, somehow the two things happen: either the station arrives or there is a signal, and then again you have to crank up the throttle and push the train again to get that speed. So I think coasting is mostly applicable for way too long routes, like start from here and end up like after 400 kilometers or 300 miles something. So that is when the coasting is mostly useful. This is what I've experienced after playing for like 50 hours. I may be wrong, but yeah, that's the thing. So now if you see, it's on the even plane and we have lost like 5 kilometers an hour. And another challenge which it produces is that the slopes, because there was a slope, I immediately turned the throttle to 0, and I thought it will sustain the speed for a bit, but immediately we were like 6 kilometers an hour late. And the problem which I was talking is that seldom, like I think in the 50 hours it was only twice or thrice, if I'm being reasonable, that I was able to reach the next station or the next stop on time, like time to spare, or actually on time, like not even seconds extra, like on time. And seconds extra or a minute extra, that's always the case. And 5 minutes extra, that was initially when I started playing this. So that is another challenge. And whenever, normally I've seen this, whenever we approach a station, the speed limiters are too harsh, like they are 15 miles or 10 miles. And of course, by playing, I know that like when you approach a platform, your speed should always be like below 20, 25 when you're braking, or when even when you're coasting, because when you approach a platform, it's seldom that you will be on any position in the throttle. It will always be on idle, not max, sorry. So that's the point. And now if you see, if I'm on 100 and you have to keep that level pushing, I mean you have to reach that level and you have to keep pushing to get that last ounce from the time which you have. Like now if you see, we are getting a new speed limiter of 120 miles per hour in 1.6 miles. That's great, but that's not always the case. So you have to be very meticulous and calculative about the speed which you're targeting, because see, if you see now, we are reaching the 120 miles per hour marker in 1.2 miles, and we will just be left with 1.8 approximately miles to reach the station. And it's always suggested that you start braking from a mile away. So it's very hard to maintain that. And now if you can see, there is a slope. Of course, I'm going to zero down on the throttle. Or I think sometimes I'll have to learn how to keep the throttle on and use the independent brake or the locomotive brake to manage the speed, and then somehow the throttle will be there, the power will be there, and you will be able to crank up the speed faster than you one may think of. And this is the first time that has happened. I've passed a train, and we are 1.6 miles. I'll have to start braking, so let's start the braking with the automatic brakes. Let's apply the full service because we're just 1 mile away. And I've closed down the brake and shifted it to the initial, and as you can see, it's already 49:18, and we are like approximately 1 minute late. And there is a slope, so we can use that to our advantage. And let's apply the brake a bit more because we are 800 yards. Let's get to posting of a speed of like 25 something. And the problem with train brakes is it always brakes more than you anticipate or longer than you anticipate. Like you want the speed to be 80, then you need to stop the braking at like 90, and depends on locomotive to locomotive. It's very harsh to judge. Let's honk it that we are approaching. So this way it will be much more easier. I've applied full brakes, and that thing that will be a mistake because I misjudged it from the bridge. That's the reason I'm again cranking the throttle. Yeah, I was busy talking and then I misjudged the stop compared to the bridge. And now let's keep it at 10, so it will be easier for us to brake again. And it will stop exactly near the marker. Let's apply the brake now. Let's open the doors on the left. They are getting opened. Let's have a look on the platform and the surroundings. It's beautiful. Let's get into the train. In the meanwhile, let's release the brake. It's almost time to close the doors. Let's lock the doors. Let's release the brakes, put the throttle on, and we'll crank up all the power which we have got. It's 6.4 miles. Yeah, so we'll try to better ourselves. And the train is leaving. This is the best site, and it's more best when you are on the platform. It looks really cool. The problem is I cannot hold it here. It's really beautiful, this site. This was a good drive because this was the first time I overtook one train. Let's crank the throttle a bit more. I need to get the joystick, I think. But there is no good joystick for this game. I was planning on getting the rail cab driver or rail driver cab joystick, but there are a lot of more complaints compared to appreciation, that it's too sensitive and all that. Yeah, and it's one of a expensive thing. I have the Train SimWorld 4. I have the DLCs of 2 and 3 as well. And frankly speaking, I started playing it from the 4. I stopped gaming for a while and then I started it again. So it's just like 5 minutes, 6 minutes approximately. We have to reach another station, and this is what I was talking about. Even if we max out on the throttle, we seldom reach the actual space. And look at this beauty. And I think people are not traveling on our train. There are no people in the train, or what? There's no one in the train. This is a dining car. This is a dining car. Or this is first class. There is no one in the freaking train. Why are we even going to the next station? Or is it that it's not visible from the windows? No, it's visible, I think. There's no single person in the train. This is so embarrassing. Why are we even running the train? Train is designed beautifully. I like the color scheme. East Midlands trains, and we are bustling through, not through forest, but we are somewhat outskirts, let's say. Let's have a new look. This looks cool. So we have a stopper or the speed limiter of 110, but doesn't matter because this locomotive does not exceed the limit. So if I may go around, there will be a speed limit mentioned, not this one. Yeah, so this one, maximum speed is 125 miles per hour. So even if it's 150, it doesn't push that hard. It's quite quiet in here. I like the locomotives which have the windows which could be opened. And this time we are not stopping, but yeah, we'll pull down the throttle a bit. Really nice. I just fall short of words that how to explain the uh, beauty which the trains bring, or the joy which they have with them. It's a seriously beautiful innovation, and we will come back to that before we lose our train. And I think we are going to apply the brakes to a level 4, because we are just 0.9 miles away and we are overtaking a train. I don't know, for some reason there are no passengers on this line. It's a beautiful location we are coming at. Let's release the brake so that we'll stop at, like, the speed will stop at somewhere around 60. And we are closing in. Let's apply full brakes and hope this thing stops, because there is no going to full service. It stops. And again I panicked and we stopped before the platform. Let's put on the brake and unlock the doors. For the first time I've stopped too far away from the marker, but I guess that's fine. I'm just waiting for the passengers to load, and we have another train here. Is there a locomotive? No, that's the backside of the train. These platforms are too irritating to even look around. We have to wait till 10:26. So if we have to wait, we can keep the doors open. But I've observed this: the passengers won't go in. See, we'll use the free roam camera, and we are not way out, but yeah, we're not on the platform. See, they don't get in, they just keep waiting. And it's not that they do not belong to this train, it's always the case, because I've run the shuttle service as well. They just don't get in, just keep waiting. And that might be another story if they don't want to reach there early. Yeah, but they don't get in, they just keep waiting. Yes. East Midlands Parkway. Let's lock the doors. Already a few seconds out. In 1.9 miles we have another station. Let's release the brakes. Let's wait for the brake cylinders to be empty and the brake pipes to be filled in. And I think I had mistaken when I was speaking about the gauges over there. It's the brake cylinder which empties so that the piston comes back and the brakes are applied, and the brake pipe is always holding the air. So we have no moderations of the speed limit, and we can keep coasting through the stations. This is a nuclear reactor. I'll have to check whether the East Midlands Parkway has a nuclear reactor in the UK. Normally only they have these kind of exhausts, and I don't think we will require to push the speed limits for this station, because we will reach the station way before we can attain any kind of substantial speed. Yeah, but we can push through it. Yeah, I think this is a nuclear reactor because there is water for cooling as well. I'm not sure, but yeah, there are so many water ponds. These are only required when you have the nuclear reactor. If you watch the season, oh, such a beautiful look. Yeah, if you've watched the HBO season of uh, Chernobyl. Oh, I missed the bridge. The bridge won't allow me to actually get the first time. For the first time, I've come across track which I have, like, it looks like I've been, uh, what to say, like I'm going somewhere new. Else, I'm always traveling to the same tracks and the same positions. So let's start braking. Let's start braking hard because we are 800 yards out. Location. Let's keep the initial application so that we have a smooth sailing. Let's give a small honk. Yes, I think we are on the correct application in regards to brake. Let's release this. So now it's at 27, 25. It's more, 2 kilometers more. Let's put on the initial application. Let's release it again. Let's put on the initial application again, and then brake 2, brake 3, and brake 4, brake 5, and full service. Finally, we were able to get that. Unlock the doors on the left. So this is what I was talking about initially, that you need to get the hang of every locomotive and how it brakes and how efficiently it brakes on what speed and what elevation. That comes only by playing for a lot of times and on different tracks with the same locomotive. Different tracks in the sense the different scenarios which they have made. So I think this is the last stop. So because I played something which is bearable for you to watch, let's lock the doors and see. No, so this is not the last. There's one more stop to go. Let's release the brakes, crank up the throttle, honk the horn, and off we go. Once, of course, once the brake cylinders are in proper. Suddenly, what has happened is there is a lot of brightness, and now we have started. I need to learn this thing somehow, that when the train is standing and we need to start on time, what is the way to operate the, like, the SOP for operating precisely so that we get a head start. Because now, if you can see, the brake cylinders take time to release all the pressure, and then that it takes time for me to start. Like, it's a few seconds, but on every station, if it's a few seconds, it becomes like multiple minutes, and suddenly we have fog everywhere, and our train is, of course, not equipped for the foggy weather. Daylight and markers. So this is 7.5 miles long approximately. So it's okay to push. Oh, look at that. Derby Station platform 5. Yes, and I think Derby is the last one. Yes. Now I get it. Derby is the last station. And we have a flat environment. Nice. Is he not stopping on the station which we just left? I need to take lessons from that guy. So with a speed limit of 90 and 100, like 110 and then 115, it would be easy for us to reach there. So let's have a look at this train in terms of fog, heavy fog, dense fog, and the train vanishes into the fog. Oh, for a minute I skipped a beat. Like I thought that I have passed the station while speaking with you. Oh boy, the fog keeps getting denser. We have to honk a lot now. Yeah, finally we have one person sitting somehow. Oh no, like there are multiple people sitting. From the first station where we started, there was no one actually sitting, and now we're 5.1 miles away. Let's keep honking a bit without irritating ourselves. Signal is green, and luckily now this in the real life, of course they will not keep pushing the train to 100 miles an hour because, and there is a marker coming in 2.4 miles for 100. So the point I was telling is that the in real life they won't do this because they don't have this right top corner HUD for the signaling system unless it's a high tech train like a Shinkansen or the TGV. But yeah, the signal was orange. I fear that I might lose the signal or I may have a red ahead. I don't think there would be a red because this is a predefined scenario. Yeah, we have a green. And anyways, if it would have been a red, let me decrease the throttle. We are just zero point 0.6 miles from the next marker. Let's start with the initial application of the brake so that we are under 100 by the time we reach the 100 miles per hour marker. And then again, we have a surprise of 75 miles per hour marker. This is good. Let's keep it running. And then we have a 85 marker as well. Let's put on some brakes, release them. It was just for a tad bit moment. Speed went up. Then we have a 75. It will automatically reach the 75. And anyways, we are nearing the station, so we don't need speed that much. We just need precise management of the speed. And we are missing on the beautiful exterior locations, but that's fine. Let's operate the train from within now for this stage. Now there's a 75 mile marker coming in, and we are exactly under 75. And anyways, we have a elevation so that we won't need that much braking, and nothing beautiful outside because it's all going to be denser with fog. And we have a double orange, which is watch and go. Let's apply the brakes a bit more because we have a 55 marker and we are nearing the station anyways, and it's 30 miles per hour in 200 yards. And I think we did a good job this time. Precisely good job. We were just at 29 while we approached it, and there are going to be a lot of track changes, and that's the reason it's so much of speed change everywhere. And this is, I think, the last stop because we are changing the tracks and trying to reach the platform, and I think it's quite near. Just can't see anything. We can't even see the end of the train, and here we are approaching the station. put on the initial. Release it because we're still 80 yards away. Let's get inside it. The initial and the brake, because once it reaches the 8, it's very hard to break it again. I have to stop, else I'll get a service objective failure. Open the doors on the left, and if you are still watching the video, I cannot thank you enough that you're watching my videos, and please give me any kind of feedback. I will not ask you to subscribe.